Hey, what's up you guys? Kyle here, and I wanted to go over today 3 of the easiest ways to get started in real estate investing. You know, I'm asked all the time, how is the best way to get started in investing in real estate? And I always tell people there's different situations for every person. So if you're just tuning in for one of the first times, my name is Klaus, and I'm the owner-broker of Prestige Properties. It's a real estate brokerage in Hoboken, New Jersey. Now, I've been doing real estate for 13 plus years. I've invested in everything from all of these ways I'm gonna go over, from passive real estate investing to development real estate investing to syndicate real estate investing. And today I wanted to cover 3 of the easiest ways to get started in real estate investing. Okay, so before we get started, I just gotta ask you one quick thing, and that's go down and destroy the like button like you were doing your home renovation on a house, and that will help with the YouTube algorithm, so I'd appreciate it very much so. Also, be sure to stay to the end of this video so you can, I'm gonna tell you about some affiliate links that I have below where you can get some free stocks, some free crypto, and some other good financial advice. So let's get right into it and talk about the first and foremost best way to get started, in my opinion, in real estate investing if you're in this kind of situation. Okay, so the first and most common, easiest way to get started in real estate investing is to buy a primary multifamily property. And again, if you're getting started, so if you're living in mom and dad's basement, if you are renting your first property, if you are in college thinking about buying a property when you get out, this is the easiest and probably most common way to get started into real estate investing. And quite simply, let's go over a scenario where you can see real life scenarios and situations. So I'm gonna use the example of a $400,000 multifamily house. Find it for sale for $400,000. Now I use $400,000 because that's expensive in some areas. It's cheap if you're in New York City, cheap if you're in Los Angeles, but let's use that as a medium point. So if you're going to buy a multifamily property and live in one of the units and rent out the other 2, for example. Now you can apply the same situation if you're gonna find a duplex, if you don't want 2 tenants on top of you or on the below you, and you just want 1 more tenant to supplement the income, you can buy a 2-family. But let's just use for as an example, for a guidepost, a $400,000 3-family unit. Now, with FHA loan, which you can get, if it's your first, you have 1 FHA loan out, you can use up as low as 3.5% down payment on that house. So in example of a $400,000 house, that's roughly about $12,000 that you would have to put down. Now there's other closing costs and other little minimal costs involved as well. So let's say an average of about $15,000 to $20,000 if you can make up that price or that down payment to be able to buy a 3-unit place for up to $400,000. Not that expensive. Now, for example, if you found a place like that had a rent roll where 2 units out of the 3 you could rent out for say $1,600 each. Well, that puts you at about $3,200 for the monthly payment, and that would be covering your monthly payment of what that 3.5% down on a loan of buying a $400,000 property. It's roughly about $2,800 to $3,000 a month. If you do, you can find a mortgage calculator and just do the calculations on that, and you're gonna be around $2,800 to $3,000 a month. So if you have 2 units paying $1,600 each, you're gonna be basically living for free. Now here's one thing that I'm going to tell you that's even going above and beyond this if you're really motivated and inspired to minimize your costs. If you are able to get a real estate license or know somebody that has one, friends and family member, and are able to purchase this property, a commission on a $400,000 place will roughly be about 2.5%, which is about $10,000. So you could drastically cut that in half, that down payment. For instance, the first property I purchased, I was my own buyer's agent on it. So I was able to receive the commission and put down the remainder of the down payment. So that's just something that I'd throw out there just to keep in mind. All right, so the number 2 easiest way and best way to get involved in real estate investing is just to buy it as an investment and save up the down payment. Now, you might be in a situation watching this video where you're not in a position to buy your first primary, 3-family unit and live in 1 unit and rent out the other two. Maybe you have kids and maybe you have a family and you can't really go from a, 3-4 bedroom house down to a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment. Or you don't want to live on top of anybody else or below anybody else. So you might be in that situation as well. Now, the one thing with this is that you have to come up with basically a 25 to 30% down payment. So on a case of like a $400,000 place like we were talking about before, that's going to be a pretty big chunk of change. It's going to be about $100,000 plus that you're going to have to put down on that property. Now your mortgage will be drastically lower. However, you will be paying a little bit of a higher rate. And if you don't know what I'm talking about with the rates, it's talking about mortgage rates. When you go to apply for a loan, you will be paying a slightly higher percentage as an investor than a primary resident. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, you can also, I just used an example, the $400,000 place. All over America, there are areas where you can get a good cash flow in a decent area, and you can find something with great tenants, a great infrastructure where you have good tenants, good area where you have decent jobs and decent people are living there to be able to pay the rent. And maybe you can find something for 150, 200, 300,000, so where your down payment is going to be much less. Now you could always buy it, and I'm not going to go on record saying you could say you live there, because the thing is that if you are living in a 3-4 bedroom house, it's not going to be likely that you're going to be able to say you're living and buying and living in a property. On paper, it's just not going to make sense. You're going from a house down to an apartment. So you shouldn't be saying that. You should not be, saying that you're going from a house and then living in this primary just to be able to put down a primary resident. Keep it above boat and just be able to find a property where you can afford the down payment for buying the rental property with 25% to 30% down payment. So that's the second easiest way. Okay, so the third easiest way, but it's a little bit more involved in getting started in real estate investing, is the BRRRR method. And no, I'm not just saying I'm cold, because it's actually like 102 degrees right now in northern New Jersey, but it's the BRRRR method. BRRRR method, the BRRRR method. And that is essentially buy, rehab or renovate, rent, refinance, repeat. So that's what it stands for, and what that means is this, and it's a little bit more involved than the others that I was just talking about buying an investment property. Well, in this situation, you're actually buying a property that needs a little bit of work, and it's the best hybrid between long-term real estate investing and home flipping that you can find. So what you're essentially doing is buying a property in need of rehab, renovating this, renting it out so that tenants are paying top dollar and the property is worth more, and then going to a bank and being able to get the appraised value and refinance and then repeat the process. So what you're essentially doing is, let's use an example of, you find a place that is $200,000, let's say. Let's even use a lower example, where if you go to a place where you can find a property that is $100,000 in need of rehab, and you renovate this, whether it's a 1, 2 family, 3 family, and you renovate that, you have to put down the cost for the down payment. Now, in some aspects, you can actually find a private lender who will pay for this and pay for the construction costs at a higher interest rate to have to pay them, so you can actually put down less money of your own up front. But being able to buy a property, say $100,000, and now say you put in, that properties that are, if it was done up the right way, it's in an area that would be worth, say, $225 if you sold it. So now you calculate this, you realize that you could put 50 grand into this place and be able to sell it for $225. But instead of just home flipping it, you renovate it, you rent it out to a tenant paying top dollar. And now banks are a lot of the times going to make you wait 6 months to a year. Just keep that in mind. But essentially, you're selling it back to yourself, getting a longer term loan of maybe 30 years, getting equity out, and in some cases not even having any of your own money in the game, but increasing to your net worth. And a lot of times banks are going to always need about 25 to 30%. They're not going to give you the whole loan of the whole entire house, but they'll give you 70% of it. And then a lot of times you won't even have any of your skin in that game, but you'll be able to keep it, add to your net worth, and then go repeat the process and drastically build up your net worth by repeating this process and doing it again. So that's the BRRRR method. It's a little bit more involved, but as long as, sure, there's risks of not getting refinance, there's risks of not being able to rent it out, right? But if you do as much homework as you can, knowing that you can get this kind of rental income, that you know that you just have to fill out, do X, Y, and Z, and this is what your costs are gonna be, and that you know similar comps are going for this price, and you talk to the bank and you should be able to get that loan. Now, you can always just come outright and sell the property, and if you think you can get it, then worst case scenario really is that, okay, maybe the market takes a turn and you don't sell it for that 225, but it comes down slightly and you sell it for 200. Well, you still made out on the deal, and a lot of times you'll at least make your money back and then some. So that's the BRRRR method. It's a little bit more involved than the other two, but those are essentially the 3 easiest ways to get started in real estate investing. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Do not forget to smash the like button. It helps with the YouTube algorithm. And subscribe if you feel so inclined. And hit the notification bell so you will get notifications every time I post a new video. Guys, if you're on Instagram and Twitter, you might as well follow me there as well. I post there pretty much daily, so if you want to be a part of it. And go down below, check out my affiliate links. A lot of them, you have free stocks, free crypto that you can get, so check those out. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, see you later.